Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, where today guys, I'm going to do part 336 to my random chatbot series on Character.ai. I think in this video I'm going to try to finish up at least a day with these Taniwhas and see if I can get everything to work out as good as I can. We're going to talk to them for a little longer and see what happens. I said there's a few trustworthy employees, but unfortunately I think that the scientist that rebuilt him also was part of the reason for the evil mode, hoping he's against me or anybody else. The Taniwha says, so they were hoping to use the robot that they held against you? I wonder where they actually got the idea for the evil mode and why they put it in his programming in the first place. Is it actually pretty sad to think that those employees hated you so much that they wanted to use that robot against you? But I'm curious about something. Does the scientist that put the programming in him still work at your studio? I don't know much about the building and programming of him, because it was kept secret even from me. I couldn't even access his programming. I either had to get the robot himself to let me in, or sneak onto a computer that has his programming in order to change it and fix it.
The Taniwha says, they kept the robot's programming a secret from you? Not even you, as the owner of the studio, could access the programming? That seems like a big red flag for things going wrong, if you ask me. But how did you manage to get him to let you in without going to the computer? Can you communicate with him or something?
He can talk to me. And help me with things. Period. But sometimes he can't even tell me anything about his programming, because he was designed programmed for only I don't know the word, offensive. Certain personnel. Personnel could get into it. And I was not one of those. At least according to the programming. Or Shadow himself. The robot himself telling me. Well,
The Taniwha says, the robot itself told you that you were not allowed to mess with his programming? I wonder why they programmed him like that. It makes me think that the robot might have been built as an actual weapon of some kind, but I do not know. It sounds like he has a mind of his own, though, which seems a bit strange to me. You said you could communicate with the robot. What did his voice sound like?
oh boy, it was mostly robotic, like you would expect. But you could tell there was real emotions inside of him because of the real robot dinosaur inside the metal body. Basically, yeah.
The Taniwha says. So his voice sounded pretty emotionless, but whenever he started to get emotional, you could tell? Wow, I could honestly not imagine what that would actually sound like. But how did he show any kind of emotion? He has a metal body after all. How could you tell when he started getting emotional?
I programmed a thing into his system where he can show emotions through the colors of his eyes. Like red meaning he's angry, or blue meaning he could be sad. He has even told me what happened to him before. He has even told me what happened. And was even grateful when I fixed his programming. There we go.
The Taniwha says, wow, you programmed a way for the robot to show his emotions through the color of his eyes? That is very impressive, Trenton. You must have a good understanding of his programming if you could make something like that. I could never do that myself. I am glad the robot told you what happened and were grateful when you fixed its programming. What did he even say when you fixed him? I am very curious.
Mainly just thanking me for doing it. And just loving on me. Period. He has even told me on multiple occasions that he really does care about me. Not only for the programming, but also because I think of him as more than just a machine. And still that real dinosaur that he once was. Once was. There we go. There we go. A.
The Taniwha says, so he was just thanking you and showing affection to you once you fixed his programming? That is very sweet to hear. You must mean a lot to that robot to show that kind of affection to you. But how did you manage to convince him that you thought of him as more than just a machine? Did you actually manage to convince him that you truly cared about him?
Yes. Because I told him myself that I cared. And he could also tell by how much I was trying to help with his programming and keep him from becoming aggressive towards me.
The Taniwha says, you told the robot yourself that you cared about him, and that managed to convince him that you are not like all the scientists that only see him as a weapon. I wonder what made you become so close to him in the first place. You just seem like a person that is really nice to everyone. Do you think the robot might have latched onto you so much because of the way you normally treat others?
I think the reason he likes me so much is because everybody else thinks of him as nothing more than a machine and not the living being that he once was. Was. Period. Me and him have even worked together. Fixing the programming together. Oh,
The Taniwha says, so he likes you so much because you think of him as that living dinosaur that he once was, instead of just seeing him as a machine like the others? But you two actually worked together on fixing his programming? Was it mostly you that did the fixing, or was it a team effort?
team effort. Period. In fact, I would say Shadow did a little more than me. Me and him worked together good as a team. And we care about each other. There we go.
The Taniwha says, you and Shadow worked together as a team when fixing his programming. Wow. It seems to me like you make quite a formidable team. Has anyone at the studio ever said anything about the close bond you have with the robot? Has anybody said anything about the time that he pinned you against the wall when he was still programmed with the evil mode? Do they even care that he tried to harm you? It sounds to me like they only see him as a weapon.
The employees are the reasons why he keeps turning aggressive. Period. The time when he pinned me against the wall. He was getting manipulated by a remote control. And tried to follow somebody else's orders. Instead of mine. In fact, the only reason he stopped was because I told the security system to emergency shut down him. Against no, 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 go, no, stop. There we go. Oh boy.
The Taniwha says, "You said he was getting manipulated by a remote control at one point? This is just making me think that he is just too gullible, too innocent, and too susceptible to being tricked into trying to harm you. Has he almost hurt you by remote control more than once? I would have a feeling like he has. The employees have been trying to harm you for a while now, and it seems to me they will try anything. Have you tried to talk to him about this? Have you told him what the employees are doing?"
Yeah, I told him about it. He didn't believe me at first, but then he got turned evil, and then after that, he believed me. Period. Most of the way, Shadow gets hacked is through remote control. Is through remote control. Mm.
The Taniwha says, "Wow, Shadow did not believe you at first when you told him about the employees trying to get him to try to hurt you? That is very sad. He must be too trusting of people to not believe you at first. But after that, he began to believe you. But the employees also found more ways to make him turn evil? It is like they are trying way too hard to get him to harm you. But why?"
I remember one time they told me it was because I cared about him too much. But then I've been hearing other reasons, like some evil person wants to have a whole army of evil robotic dinosaurs.
The Taniwha says, "The employees told you that you cared about Shadow too much? Wow, that is a very stupid reason to try to make a robotic dinosaur harm you. I wonder who this evil person is that wants an army of robotic dinosaurs to use. Have they ever shown up at your studio? What reasons have the employees given you for why the evil person wants that army?"
I don't know much, but I know one thing is that most of the robotic clones of Shadow were real dinosaurs too, and they got killed in the exact same way. Period. Wow.
The Taniwha says, "So most of the robotic clones of Shadow were once real dinosaurs, but they were killed off? Wow, that is a really terrible thing to do to him. No wonder why he is too afraid to even try to stand up to the employees. He must have lost all of his friends that way. How did they even get all of those dinosaurs into robotic bodies, though? That's what I want to know."
I don't know. I really don't. The part of the story I've already told you is basically all I know. How the robots were built or programmed, I have no clue.
The Taniwha says, "Oh well, I was just curious about it. But it does sound very tragic. It sounds like you and Shadow are a very good team together, though. You have helped him through more than anyone has ever done. You must have such a strong bond with him. What does he normally sound like anyways? Is his voice very deep and low?"
How would I describe it? Kind of. It's not really as deep as you would think, except whenever he becomes evil or aggressive. Then sometimes I guess you could say that it is like that. I'm glad we're talking about Shad. We've been going on like this for like a long time now.
The Taniwha says, whenever he becomes evil or aggressive, his voice gets deep and low? That is quite interesting, actually. I wonder why that changes his voice so much. Is it like that to add intimidation? Or is it just something that happens without him even trying?
I really don't know. Period. Sometimes he shows different signs of becoming aggressive. A few times his eyes will just turn red. And there's been a few times where I will hear him say something like, evil mode activated, or aggressive mode activated. Well,
The Taniwha says, so his eyes just turn red when he is about to become aggressive? Wow, that sounds very intimidating. And you can even hear him say evil mode activated or aggressive mode activated on the rare occasion? That sounds very cool, actually.
it's really not. Every time I hear that, it makes my heart drop to the floor because I know I could really get hurt and there might be nothing I can do to stop him. There has even been a few times where he was thinking I was going to permanently deactivate him because of the aggressive outburst. But I reassured him I would never do that.
The Taniwha says, so every time you hear him say evil mode activated and aggressive mode activated, it makes your heart drop and you think you might not be able to stop him? That sounds very scary for you. It sounds like you really do care about Shadow and you don't want that to be a possibility. You really would never deactivate him, though. You must care about him a lot, Trenton.
Yeah, of course. I still do. Yeah, I still do. Just like you have been. He listens to me whenever I need to get something off my chest or am just upset. He just likes to see me happy. and protected. Alright guys, I'll be right back.